Gotcha.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome. Welcome. How'd you go with the tech joining in?
Oh, I was freaking out a little bit. You were speaking, and I couldn't find where it said request to join. I'm like, it should be here somewhere, somewhere. Finally found it.
Yeah, you're leaving me hanging there for a while. But I can't believe this is actually the first time we're chatting as well. So it's a chat I've really been looking forward to. You certainly, for me, been around in tri for a very long time, but probably I was coming out of the sport as you were starting to come in.
Yeah.
And you've been one of those names on the radar that anytime you talk to people, you know who to keep an eye out for. It's always been your name in the last couple of years. So for me, as much as anyone, I'm really looking forward to this chat. I'm going to throw to you to set the scene though. Give us your top three career race results. And then for you, what's the ultimate goal in the sport?
Well, I think my top three race results. I reckon I started the sport in 2015. Got my pro license in Ballarat 70.3 in 2016. So that would be kind of a key moment for me. I felt I came 10th overall, got the pro license within 12 months, and that was a big milestone. And then I won my first pro race in 2019, I reckon. Went off to short course, came back, realised I loved long course, got going on it with the new coach Reedy, and won my first race. And it was challenge career. It might have been a shallower field than others, but it was still my first pro race, so that was the one. And then probably winning Geelong was the third because that was, I'd come second a few times in Ironman races and I'd won a lot of challenge races, but starting to focus on Ironman and challenge races, I finally got an Ironman win. You know, it's kind of, you see the Ironman banners being put up when you first get into the sport, and that's kind of the dream. So finally got it in my hands, and yeah, I celebrated with an angry yell, and people thought I'd be happy, but I wasn't. I was angry. Finally got there.
Finally
What
got
was the
there.
other question? I
Ultimate
forgot.
ultimate goal for the sport in the sport.
Um, yeah, I won't lie. I want to be the world champ, but
Yep.
it's tough getting into it at 23 or
I
yeah
love that you
20.
put that out there too.
Yeah, yeah, it's what I want to do, and if
Yep.
you ask anyone who knows me, I'm completely obsessed. So
Yep.
it's either going to happen or I will be happy with whatever if I reach my potential. That's all. I've just got to make, and then I'm happy to swallow my pride and accept that I'm not going to be the best at this, but I will try my hardest. And yeah,
Got to
I'm
put
going to have to, I have to try and do it with a family life balance though. So I want to make sure I've got that. So I know that's going to limit me, but yeah, maybe we'll see.
Yeah, not necessarily, I don't reckon. So one of the thing I really love about your story too is your background, and because you came in from quite a different background, a footy background, got injured, and then found your way into the sport. Funnily enough, probably as you were coming in to try out of footy, we were crossing paths, and I was going across to work in footy. One of my questions for you is, I always feel that athletes from really different sports and backgrounds have a lot to learn from each other. Do you, and certainly, my experience too, even working with footy players or other particularly team athletes or athletes in really skill based or strict strategy based sports. Do you think that has helped you at all in any way or given you an edge in tri, which is, you've come from a really multi-dimensional movement into straight line sport, individual, very, very different mindset and physical approach. Has it helped at all?
I think it's helped. I actually listened to there was a podcast today. It was released maybe yesterday, Jason Ackermanis, um, and that was a good one because I realized, of course, I know they work hard, but we work harder. But yeah, it was interesting because he worked so hard. He periodized his training. He was really smart about everything he did in his training and thought about every little thing. And Brisbane, it was good to get an insight as how Brisbane took the athletes, and everyone has to do this exact process from a junior, and it takes and it was good to hear that. Yeah, he goes, you don't hit your straps as a footy player till 4 to 6 years in, because you've got to maintain that speed that you've got with an athletic little body. but then and the endurance, but you have to also build the muscle, but not lose that speed and endurance. So it was interesting. They have to balance it somehow, and it's nearly impossible. But they, yeah, that premiership team, he said that they balanced it somehow, and that was cool. I was just thinking while I was listening, like, oh, maybe I can learn more from footballers, but I think the team aspect is what I brought over to triathlon. I gained, I was a runner as a junior, and that was very individual. So I got really nervous, and it was all that mattered to me. And then I went to footy, realised, you know, it was more about the social side and drinking beers after the game than winning. So, so then I don't know. I just came back to triathlon. Oh, sorry, back to endurance, and chose triathlon. And I don't get nervous for races like I used to. It used to be like, a week out, and I'd just be a mess by the race day and your energy's gone. But now I race well if I need to. So unless I'm just overtrained or whatever. But yeah, it seems consistent now. And I think that footy team atmosphere that I try and create with my coaching has helped a lot because I'm happy with the guys that we all get together as if it's a footy team and we cheer each other on and trying to turn an individual sport into as much of a team as I can. And,
Yeah.
you guys and two times you and everyone as well. And I've lined up with people like yourself, and I've heard a lot about you. Haven't actually spoke to you yet, but the guys are such good people. We met at the race on the weekend, and it was awesome. They're just easy to get along with, my type of people.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing you raise, is because from the outside, people who aren't familiar with triathlon do see it as really individual, and it's very much a team affair. It's just kind of, at the end of the day, you on the race course, but you are still part of this much bigger active team.
Mm.
Um, yeah. One other question too I had for you. It's obviously for every athlete, but COVID has really disrupted plans and travel plans and ability to race. In some ways, for you though, with your how you've come in to and where you are timing wise in career, has it been a little bit of a positive, enabling you to, or even just as a long course racer, just to concentrate on some basics without having race pressure, or has it been a complete pain in the ass?
I'd say it's like the worst thing that's happened to me. But no, I'm joking. But nah, to be honest, like if I look back at my career and I go, there was 2 years where I trained a bit too much, didn't race as much, and built a massive base. Yeah, that it might pay off in the long run. Because I'm playing catch up, being newer to the sport than everyone else. These Norwegians who are winning races, they've been doing it since they were 12 or 10 or whatever. So they have 10 years on me before I even knew what the sport was. And that was a long, So anyway, these blokes, most of them have about 15 years experience on me. So yeah, maybe the base building that I've done the last 2 years where my coach kind of said, Steve, this is a bit much. Maybe eventually it will pay off, but it might shorten my career by a year. But I don't know, maybe racing less helped as well with the body, the travel. The body might hold up for longer. But saying that, I felt like I was hitting my straps in 2019 finally, and I got an invite to the World Champs in Daytona. Turned it down because we were just about to build a house. Oh, sorry, just about to move into the house on the date of the race, and Lauren just announced that she was pregnant. And I was like, oh, I don't know about this. So we said no, and it's probably my biggest regret in triathlon because I didn't know that I could get home with the COVID thing at that point. It was too early, but I could have. So it's a regret, and now you kind of like think you're good enough, but it's been 2 years where you had this good year in 2019 and you were just about to start, moving up the ranks. And I've gone backwards, but I'm a much better athlete, so it's not making much sense. But I need to get overseas this year.
You're still realistically though, you're still very, very young in a sport that is suited to older athletes, and as you say, getting those years in that basin. So I think there's plenty of time there.
Yeah, yeah.
Busso, end of last year. Talk us through that. You're second at Busso.
Yeah, I've done two Ironmans and come second twice, and one was 2019. This one, I had a lot of preparation for the first one. Real nervous for that one. Just I didn't feel like I was ready for it. But this one, I only had about 4 weeks prep, just because we didn't think it was going to go ahead, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then we finished we finished Noosa, which was the opposite. It's Olympic distance. So neither of them are my preferred distance, but it's all that was on offer. So in Australia, we just take what we can get at the moment and not complain. And we're very grateful that they went ahead, thanks to Ironman, and Noosa Tri is run by Ironman as well. So they stepped up in Australia for the pros. So it's been awesome. But then yeah, it was good. I was just like, I knew it was going to fall apart at some point. I haven't trained, my training block wasn't long enough for 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it was. You just can't build the right amount of fatigue or hours up. But I made it to about 130k without falling apart on the bike, and then things really got
Mate,
bad. And then I wanted to get on the run so badly and lost probably 2 or 3 minutes to Matt Burton, who I had held off the whole race on the bike, and then got to the run, was within a minute of Matt Burton at the halfway of the run, but I knew one slip up and I'd cramp everywhere. So, and I don't think it was due to like hydration or nutrition. I'd nailed that, I reckon, because I was still needing to pee my pants. And that means that you've hydrated well. But
so,
my
so,
legs didn't have it.
so chalk it up
What?
as a good learning race. But you've kind of stated too that that's not your preferred distance, and the half really is your preferred distance. So that's what you're kind of setting out towards this year. What's kind of this year? And I know best laid plans with COVID, but fingers crossed if things are going to plan and schedule. What's it look like for you?
I want to do Geelong again soon. That's 4 weeks away, and
Yep.
then want to do Husky. I think that's the Aussie Champs again. That's the week after. Then I'll do Shepparton 2 weeks later after a wedding, and so it'll be a busy racing month. But I've got a good month now to keep preparing, and then freshen up. And then I want to go to the US. So I want to get over there, and there was Ironman Port Macquarie in May, but I'm just going to get over there because the exposure and the world ranking points and everything is all over there. And it seems like in Australia, I think the standard is really high, but the rest of the world doesn't believe so. So I'm going to go and prove them wrong.
Well, fingers crossed that's all smooth sailing, all those travel plans.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's, I mean, for you too, it must be, I don't know if it feels quick, if the last couple of years have felt quick, where you've gone from, a different sport, studying, working, full-time working, to then kind of trying to balance and manage it, to now you're full pro, supported, you've got the support of Two Times You and Pillar and a range of other really good sponsors, allowing you to live the dream, travel the world and race, which is not easy at all. But has it felt like a quick change to you?
Um, I reckon 2 years ago, 2019, I said to Dad, and I'd won a few races at the back half of the year, and I said, "It's weird, isn't it? I reckon I could stop right now, and this hardly would have happened. This whole experience of triathlon, because I just went so far deep into it within a week of starting it. So I basically quit my job immediately. Yeah, after the first race. So then, but
Like,
yeah, I think.
were you confident with that, or scared by that, or you just backed
Um,
yourself?
if you know what, if I look back now, everything's happened really quickly, and if I compare to other people in the sport, it's happened a lot quicker. But I still think if you want something bad enough, it does drag. I'm like, oh God, when's this gonna happen? And months seem like years, I guess. But yeah, now I look back and I'm trying my hardest to make the most of it, because if I've only got 8 or 10 years left until if I have 10 years left and I'm approaching 40, and that's probably when I'll want to call it quits, maybe, who knows? but I need to make the most of it. So I'm trying my hardest to appreciate it because you can get caught up in what you do day to day, and you fill it with training, and you're busy, and then you go, oh, I've got to do this after training, and then if you really step back, I'll go, all you have to do is train. You're living the dream. What, are you serious? Like, stop being stressed. Like, how do you ever stop smiling? So I have to tell myself that a lot because it is the thing I love most in the world is exercising. So I have to keep
Yeah.
reminding myself when I get up and I'm tired and that yeah, how's this how you stressed at all? So yeah, it's been a quick journey, I guess, but it feels long when it's you doing it.
Yeah, it's a strange process, and you know, even as you're talking there, it's probably some good reflecting for me as well because I've kind of gone through that and then come out the other side as well, and it's hard when you're in that. It's almost like a bubble of that full time pro life training, and like any job, there are good days and not so good days, and it's and I think you've even said this too. It's a bloody hard way to make a living, but at the same time, it's so awesome, and
Mm.
it's when you kind of get to the end of that journey as well. And you know, now I'm in full time work elsewhere, and you look back and think, oh, I wish I could go back to that.
Yeah, I think I will say that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but it's at the same time, you know, it's certainly not easy, and there's a lot to balance and a lot to manage and learn. And um,
Yeah.
so one other thing we have in common, your well, not in common, but your coach, Reedy, Tim Reed, he lives right around the corner to me.
All
Uh,
right.
so yeah, we could probably almost yell out the window if he was there. So yeah, very
Yeah.
very close by.
It's a
But
good
he's
area to train.
very good area to train. But he's obviously been, you know, really good for you over the last couple of years as well. He's amazing athlete himself, world champion. He's building a really good reputation as one of the top coaches as well. Is that, you know, that relationship and that trust is obviously very important too for you.
Yeah, it is. I had it with Matty White and it was great. And then I got talent identified to do the whole short course thing and didn't like it really at all. And when I came back, Matty's business his reputation as a coach skyrocketed, and he went and did, is doing big things with his coaching, as in his group's grown a lot, and that it had grown by the time I got back, and I'd talked to Reedy, and he was keeping his numbers low, and I kind of preferred that if I'm gonna, because there is a lot of sacrifices if you're chasing something like this, like lots of social stuff. If you're away a lot, you miss lots of big events, and I hate that you do, like you're very close with your friends still, and nothing changes when you catch up, but you're not as close as they might be together. So there's things like that. There's friends and family, all these sacrifices. Alcohol, you have to drink less. You yeah, you just have to control your fun levels all the time, because if you go have too much fun, then the next day is ruined. Or yeah, diet, that's annoying as well. Like really want to eat a few things, but really shouldn't. So I don't know. Yeah, but yeah,
Talk me
there's
through that. Talk me through a little bit of nutrition. What's your approach there, or challenges there, or whether that's training or racing or
well, that's where Reedy's come in handy as well. He's helped heaps with you know. You can go low carb on this day, you can go high carb on this day. You can, he was great for hydration. Teaching me that hydration is probably, it's not hunger, it's probably hydration. Because bonking I've found that is actually it feels the same as hunger, but it's not hunger, it's actually just you're thirsty. Because if I count how much I've had, how many gels or whatever, it's like, well, that's enough. So it's definitely hydration. But yeah, my challenges would probably be like, I love a bakery, um,
nothing
and
like a good
I love
bakery?
I love cheese way too much. But yeah, the bakery is a big weakness because it's just you get acid reflux eating that crap when you go running up straight after it, or like a few hours later. You just can't eat that rubbish. Like, yeah, anyway, I get stuck in ruts where I'm eating too many carbs on the wrong day, stuff like that, because they're delicious. So,
They are
yeah,
delicious.
yeah, aerobic days are made for low carb, and if I go through periods where I'm like, well, I don't care. There's not a race for a while. And then when I get closer to races, I'm like, oh God, I've got to really sort this out. So that, yeah, and I just feel a lot better when I do the right things. But yeah, I know that that's your job, so I am keen to talk soon about more about this because you're the expert. My partner was a sports dietitian, but it's so long in the past now that times have changed, and she says, oh, I don't have a clue now.
She probably just doesn't want to be telling you what to do too.
Yeah, 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 just in
Exactly.
case.
Speaking of family as well, you've just had a baby recently, so throwing that into the mix, I'm sure that adds some extra challenges to recovery and sleep, and again just managing time, but in positive ways too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the happiness levels in this household have gone up massively for me and Lauren, just overall, and that really showed at Bustleton. I went in just the happiest I'd been, and I'd been so happy for about 3 months, just content with everything, trying to appreciate what I was doing for a job, and then I rush home because Winnie she just laughs and sleeps. She's great. But yeah, it was a challenge when she first arrived. I'd just come back from a broken toe and I was really eager to start racing again. So it was like 7 weeks in this boot, or it was probably like 5 weeks in the boot, but then no running for another 2 weeks. So I count it as 6 or 7 weeks. But anyway, yeah, there was a challenging period this year, and I finally came good around Bustleton in terms of toe doesn't hurt anymore. I'm feeling a bit fit. I'm feeling myself again. I'm feeling fit again. But the first half of the year was so amazing. And then, yeah, lots of distractions. Moon boot, baby, and then, yeah, just like the sleep thing. And yeah, it was tough. It was a tough 5 weeks. And then since then, it's actually got pretty good. Mum and Dad have been incredible. They came to Melbourne with us just now to meet the Pillar and 2 times you guys, and we don't know what we'd be doing without them because they've been unreal. And Dad came over today and built shelves with me for like 3 hours. Yeah, they're both just incredible, and you can tell Winnie laughs her head off, and that's all she does because of what's around her. We're just laughing in her face. So my parents, she gets about 100 million kisses a day, so she's very
Oh,
lucky.
sounds like the ideal start for her.
Yeah,
and,
it's been
and,
good.
a, and a good distraction for you too. Athletes
Yeah,
sometimes get really tunnel vision, and it's really good to have that distraction. But you're right. We'll
yeah,
we'll talk offline too, more about your nutrition and even around sleep, and nutrition support around that, and mitigating some of those negative effects of missing out on sleep and extra stress
yeah,
loads.
yeah,
Um, so on the weekend too, you raced at the weekend. You had a hit out over a much shorter distance,
yeah,
um, and I know too. There was a bit of fun involved there. The guys from Pillar had you mic'd up for the race.
yeah.
What was that like having a mic on you?
Yeah, it was great. I liked it. I was overheating because I came out of the water and I had I don't know, 15-20 second gap to that group of 7 up front. I just screwed up in that swim. I like duck dived too early and everyone flew past me and I had to make my way through the second pack and just approaching that first pack. And I'm like, oh, you've screwed this whole thing up. You're not even going to be in the front pack for this mic situation. So, I wouldn't care. It's just a preseason race, so I'm going to be in as much pain in this pack as that pack, whatever. But I was like, well, you're being filmed and you're on a mic, so you got to hurry up. So I left my swim skin on. That was going to make the day a lot hotter. And then straight after that, I put the vest on, got out, couldn't catch them. You can't catch a group of 8 or 7, whatever it was, alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just battling away by myself. And then the second group eventually caught me with about 10k, or maybe less than 10k to go. And yeah, there was just a good, like it was, and in that group it was some young guys, so it was actually really fun to. Few of them came up afterwards and said they really appreciated the advice whilst on the bike, and it was more just like trying to get everyone working together instead of 3 of us up front kept doing all the work, and all these young guys were just sitting at the back, and I'd go back to them and go, lads, this isn't your A race. This is just a local race in Melbourne. No one cares about it. Like, this isn't the Australian champs. This is an amazing, by the way, an amazing race that two times you puts on. It's got all the bells and whistles, but it's just really that's their local series. It's
Yeah.
just so much better than what I'm used to in Adelaide. It's just like 2,000 people, we get 500. We're sold out at 500. So it's incredible. But I had to try and tell them, like, this isn't your A race. This is, Australia, when you're competing against all the other states and everything, that's when you sit behind and do nothing. But here, you got to work your ass off so that you can keep up in your A race.
Yeah.
So they all started helping, and then thanked me afterwards. And hopefully, in these local races, they'll keep working hard, because you're not going to do well in the big races if you're just sitting back, relaxing
Yeah, it's
in
good
your
advice.
testing. Yeah. But it was good. That's why it was fun.
I'll be keen to hear the banter that comes through from that mic. Did you manage to keep it clean? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I would have kept it clean in a race like that.
I think if it was like my A race, if it was Geelong, I would have forgotten the mic was on. I would have cared a lot more, and yeah, it would have been abusive. It would have been, yeah, but I was aware of the situation, and yeah, I wasn't too bothered. I was so fatigued from the first 2 weeks of pre-season training, and it was a long 2 weeks. So, up mid-20s, and coming from nothing after Busselton and building it up slowly, I was just buggered. So that's all I had anyway, and I was laughing. I think the banter that I had was just laughing at how bad I was that day. But that's fine. It's the right time of the year.
We're not going to keep you on for massively long, but did have a few questions, and hopefully we'll have some more come through now from people watching. This is from Gracie. What's your favourite leg of the triathlon?
It's definitely the run. The swim, for most people, causes a bit of anxiety, and I'm not gonna lie, it does a little bit, but only the start. I really enjoy the swim after the first 300 meters. I just can't stand the almost drowning part where everyone's wrestling, and I hate that I'm a small guy because I'm not that great at wrestling, I guess. I've just got no weight behind me. So yeah,
That's
I like
can
the
always
swim.
be pretty violent.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
love
grow up
running.
swimming at all, or was swimming something that you picked up really only when you were coming into the sport?
I did state swim till year 6, so that would be till 12, and that's just learned how learn how you go up from dolphin to starfish or whatever those things are. That's all I did. If you've learnt the stroke, then it's just you don't have to relearn it. You just tweak it, I guess. You know how to swim freestyle. So I knew how to swim. I was good. I'd win. The district carnivals, I'd win that and go to the state champs and get my ass handed to me. And that was the extent of my swimming. I thought I was good, went to the state carnival. These guys actually train. Right, I'm actually pretty bad. And then
there's a difference too, of taking it from the pool into the open water, and as you say, throwing in the start as well, where it's a free for all and arms and legs going everywhere, and it's another kettle of fish again.
Definitely, yeah. But yeah, biking, I could go without it, to be honest. I just hate traveling with a bike. I love a long bike ride in the hills. It's so fun going all day, but it's just not as easy. The things go wrong with bikes, flat tires, all this. And it takes so long. Some days that's good, but running, you're just out the door. You got a pair of shoes, and it's just the purest of the three, I think. Anyway.
Yeah. Next question is from Coach Global. Best hack for any amateur triathlete to take it to the next level. Now, you also, I should say, you're a coach yourself, aren't you?
Yes, and I coach him.
There you go.
Yeah, that's Theo. I coach him. He's a PT, or a weights coach and all that kind of stuff, and probably a few other things as well.
So what's
In
he
his
going
coach.
to do? How's he going to step it up?
So this one, people hate hearing it. It's just the main thing would just be, well, there's not really many shortcuts to the patience that you need. It's just a long game, really. Time is how you take it to the next level. It takes years, and I'm a good example of that. But it has been cut down by, like, better training and the coaching that I've had. You can race more to become race savvy quickly, and that's what me and Maddie White did together. We raced heaps and got experienced with not enough time to really say you are experienced. But if you race every weekend, then you actually kind of know what you're doing. And then I would say a big one from Reedy was it took me to my next level really quickly, realizing that you can drink a lot more than you think in a race. So hydration was huge. I started drinking double or triple what I was in a race, and all of a sudden I could finish a race and win it rather than pass out at 10K in the run. So that's one. And then obviously, yeah, money does buy speed, unfortunately. So like if you're not going to be patient and you do want some gains right now, then you can change your position on the bike. You can get new tires, the fastest tires on the market. You can get a brand new helmet that suits the position that you're in. All these things, they will wipe minutes off on a bike. So it's mostly down to the bike that you can change. Run form you can change, swim form you can change. So yeah, there's lots of shortcuts. Very time consuming and lots of money
I'm gonna
drained.
sum up what you said there. The first one was spend lots of time. The third one was spend lots of money, and the
Yeah,
second one was you can really get faster by not training anymore, not spending anymore, but paying attention to some small details of stuff you already do, which is your nutrition and hydration.
yeah.
Good
Yeah,
summary?
yes, it's a long answer, unfortunately, but there is a lot to it. But I mean, he's coached by me, so we go through all these things like the aero bottle between your arms, then you don't break aero. So
Yeah.
then you go reach for a bottle 10 times. That's heaps of speed gone.
Yeah.
There's lots of things. Yeah, it's too intricate of a sport, unfortunately. There's never a short
Yeah,
answer.
yeah. Well, three technical sports rolled into one, and it's even more than the sum of those parts too. I always
Yeah,
think. So
yeah,
also
exactly.
it's also what keeps it fun and interesting.
Yeah, I
And the
mean the improvements are endless, aren't they?
yeah. Um, this one might be. We'll start with you. Well, it's the best way to fuel during a sprint distance try, and this is from Ti Crowley. Um, we'll start with you. What you do to fuel during a sprint distance try.
And then you
I
need to
add to
correct
that.
me and tell me what to actually do. Um, well, you don't need much. So and also it's a short time, so I would say don't reach for gels and mess around with gels. I'd say those powdered energy sources, so electrolyte powders with carbs in them. So then you've got a bit of nutrition on the bike, the one place you can take nutrition on. And I don't think you should take much on besides fluids and electrolytes in the run because it's so short as well. But the bike is just the only place I think. Even if that bottle was between your arms, you don't break aero for a 20K ride, and you just sip away at carbs and electrolytes. So
Yeah.
I think that's the only way to do it. You don't need much. You only need one 750 ml bottle, I reckon.
Yeah, good answer. I reckon. Spot on. You can have my job. No, I reckon you pretty much nailed it there. When races around an hour ish, and that's even given no matter your fitness level or status that you're racing at over a sprint distance try, you really don't need to take on much. You're almost aiming to, as long as you turn up on the start line and you're fueled and you're ready to go. It's almost about taking as little on as possible while still maintaining your maximal output throughout that race. So in practical terms, you're right. It's keeping an eye on some hydration status, maybe topping up a tiny bit of fuel, even getting enough just through your mouth and your oral mucosa to make your brain feel as though it's still got
Yep.
heaps of energy on board, and not messing around with your gut function too much. That'd be my take on a sprint distance.
What
Um,
about the breakfast? Do you think it has to be light or can you just have a liquid breakfast as well? Or I don't know. It's an hour and a half race for most people.
Yeah, that, and again, this is where some of the individual variance comes in. Liquid breakfast can be really good for people that are really, really nervous, and if particularly if it's a really early start to the race and it's hard to get in enough. But in general terms, I usually say get up and have something solid. Have something solid in your stomach. Um, it's still a fair solid output of effort.
Mm,
Um, that you're trying to knock out, and you're racing, and even if it's not your A race, you're still racing and you still want to maximize what you're doing at that time.
yeah.
And yeah, I always feel if you can, something solid. If you can't, then a liquid meal can
Yeah.
scrape by.
It's weird. We call it a sprint, but if someone was running that long,
Yeah,
they would be like, "Well, you need a big breakfast because that's a half marathon."
yeah, exactly. It's funny, isn't it, what classifies as a sprint in triathlon
Yeah,
terms?
yeah, yeah.
To running and swimming sprints. This is one from Joel Woodbridge, and he's asking about micronutrition supplements and triathlon. And again, I can chime in with this, but for you, nutrition for any triathlete, nutrition is a big part of that puzzle. And Pillar is really, I think, kind of instrumental in helping not just fill some of those gaps, but elevate in some areas and some circumstances, whether that's through periods of stress or illness or injury, and what that kind of looks like. Have you found them useful in your approach to training, and what's kind of your go-tos or your staples?
I believe the science behind it all, but I'm not as in tune with my body as some people are. I wish I was, but someone says I take this and I feel like this. I just I just know that it's good stuff, and I know what you guys are doing, and it's high concentrate in certain areas, and I know I know from Lauren's background why it's good for me and all that. So I tell my guys if you're going to do a subscription, I think the Super B, vitamin B supplement. I say the combo of vitamin C and zinc, and I say the magnesium. And obviously there's the other ones as well, and there's big benefits to them. But if they say, Steve, give me your best three of the pillars, that's just what I tell them. That's my favorite three and it's mostly because these days I'm biased now because I don't get enough sleep. So I'm clearly going for something that gives me energy, relaxes
Yep.
me to sleep, and something that's gonna fight off sickness. So
Yeah, I think you got a really good starting mix there. That sounds pretty spot on to me. I'm just trying to see if there's any other questions, and if anyone's on there that has any more questions um, to throw in. But while we watch them come up, so you mentioned for you Geelong is next in a couple of weeks. What's kind of your training and approach look like into then? Have you had an off season? Did you have that? You coming off season now and back into things, or you just kind of kept going through?
I had probably like 2 weeks off straight after Busso where I like to keep moving at least. So I've stopped completely for 2 weeks in the past and I got injured. So I think your body's so used to it. We have to do at least, I don't know. I think I did like 7 hours for 2 weeks or 8 hours, 6 or 8 hours. And then over Christmas I had a few days off here and there and had a bit of a bender. Christmas Eve, and Boxing Day, and then I kind of swore alcohol off after that. But then there's been trickles through with different events, so yeah, I keep saying like I need to because like because I haven't gone crazy, but we have to do next to nothing. So if when it gets serious, but it's been a good period. It's been fun. I've caught up with lots of people and enjoyed myself. And yeah, it's time to get back into it now. So I did a big aerobic few weeks, maybe 3 weeks since New Year. Um, and yeah, it's next week will start to be pretty specific, I think. into
So
Geelong. I know.
I just saw a question pop up there um, about another person obviously racing Geelong 70.3 too. Any tips you can offer about Geelong? I guess in particular Geelong 70.3. You know the course well.
Yeah, I know how to prepare for that one. I reckon it's yeah, I think mostly down to the run for me. I think running into the water to start with, practice a bit of that because you can explode with lactic acid from the run into the water. It's a long run in, stays
Mm.
shallow, then you duck dive a bit, then you start sprinting to keep up with whoever else, and yeah, you just have to try and get used to that, some lactate tolerance, and then settle in to your threshold. And then on the run, the bike course is, it's a pretty good bike course. There's not much to say about it. You do get to get out of your aero position here and there, so your back's not ruined like Busso. You can just prepare, you know, for a time trial. You don't have to really, go for the hills or you don't have to prepare for a complete flat course where you don't get out and your back's going to be ruined. But the run, it's got a few hills. It's still a fast course, but those spikes can really spike your heart rate on those
Yeah,
little
they're just little
climbs.
hills, aren't they? Nice, a couple of
Yeah,
nasty little hills.
so I'd say just every run you do, not every run, sorry. So most runs in the week, I do all my efforts and tempo stuff for the next month. I'll be on the Torrens, which is close. We got like just kind of rolling. There's little spikes here and there. So if I'm doing a 1K rep, it kind of ruins your rep, the time, but it'll spike your heart rate for that last bit if you still try and make that time that you're aiming for. So trying to be specific and yeah, put your super shoes on and yeah, go on like a rolling run course like 3 times a week. And I think that's how you can prepare for Geelong because the runs where races are won and lost.
Yep. So certainly the run is where it's at down there, I think. There's a
Yeah.
question that came through about steeplechase. Are you considering doing steeplechase running again?
I saw my
Is that
brother also
ever a
commented
potential?
saying he wants a shout out. Danny comes to all the pro races and films, so he's actually been massive. We've got like this little YouTube channel going, and yeah, I think the other pros probably appreciate it too. We just like do a little brief of the pro race, so he comes to every race. And then what was that question just now? What was the one
Um,
that you? Oh, steeplechase.
steeplechase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was probably him mentioning that, or Clint Rawlings. He mentions the steeplechase a bit as well. I
So is
I
that the
fell
same
over.
background, is it?
Oh, it was running, and I did steeplechase because it's one I could go and win nationals instead of coming fifth. But it turns out I was coming second with 150 left, and tripped on the last steeple into the water face first. And then we were so far ahead, so I looked back and I'm like, I've still got this, but I'm kind of out of it. And I ran into the next steeple because I was closing my eyes, because I was still out of it. And then someone jumped over that steeple. I climbed over, so I was now in third, and then I got pipped on the line for and I came fourth. Someone ducked through, and yeah, I was like, wow. Didn't actually, and
But
at that point I quit running.
yeah, I was going to say, end of that career, you're doing much
Yeah,
better in the sport now.
yeah, yeah,
Who did you get your athletic ability from? Who's that from? Kath.
yeah. They're both watching right now. Yeah, that's my mum and dad.
Ah,
Well, mum has a sister who was an Olympic swimmer. She had a world record for breaststroke, so I probably got the swimming from that side. And dad is a great runner, so probably got some running from him. And the body, yeah, is made for both of those. And then I think with bike riding, if you're fit, um, it's about strength. So yeah, anyone can become a
I
good
feel like
bike rider.
you're almost cheating with your family background there.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw before Andrew asked a question of me. When am I racing another try? Answer to that. I don't know. I would actually like to do some. It's probably a product of time at the moment. However, I do have on the cards. I've entered a crazy long run this year, which is a first. Something to scare the pants off me. So that will be my own kind of journey into the unknown and see what unfolds there. More to come there.
Will you do Sunny Coast in September? That's close to you.
It is, yeah. Sadly, I don't have a race bike at the moment. I'll put that as my excuse for now. But probably my bigger excuse is really just time, and balancing family and work. But hopefully, never say never. I never officially retired, so it's
Yeah.
never say never.
Um,
Well, I don't know if you've got anything else to add, anything else to throw out for the season, any kind of big long term goals, or anyone else that you want to shout out to on here that you can see on there. Um, but if not, we might wrap it up
yeah,
and
cool.
keep the rest for the next time, and keep a
Yeah,
lookout for that footage from the race on the weekend, and
yeah.
listen out for that banter and talk on the bike.
Yeah, can't wait to see it. I don't know. I can't even remember what I did now. I think it was all good. But I
Oh,
look forward to
it's
chatting
all
to
on
you.
camera and mic, so
Yeah, I look forward to chatting to you more. Just about like, the diet, the sleep, and everything. Because
yep,
yeah, you can't leave any stone unturned in this sport. If you're aiming for what we're all aiming for, and
yep.
like reaching our potential anyway. So yeah, yeah, I
That's
look
it.
forward to it,
We'll line up
and
time. We'll line up time and talk about bakeries and
or
babies
lack
and
of.
racing.
Yeah, hopefully lack of.
All right. Well, thanks so much. I've really enjoyed the chat, and we'll no doubt talk again soon. Thanks
Thank
everyone for
you.
joining.
Cheers. I'll
See
speak
ya.
to you soon. See ya.